I didn't argue when she said it. There was a pause before she did, like she was organizing groceries in her mind. "Dad, it's just this year. Mark doesn't feel comfortable. It's easier if you don't come." Easier. I remember staring at the calendar on the kitchen wall. The little square around Thanksgiving already circled in blue. I'd bought a pie plate the week before because hers had cracked last year, and she'd mentioned it in passing. I told her that was fine. I said I understood. I said I didn't want to make anything difficult. She exhaled with relief. That part stayed with me longer than the words. After we hung up, I stood in the quiet house and tried to decide whether I felt insulted or outdated. In the end, what I felt was adjusted, as if I'd been moved one row back without anyone announcing it. I didn't cook. I didn't thaw the turkey I'd bought. Instead, I drove to a restaurant 20 minutes away. Not a festive place, not somewhere decorated with paper pumpkins. Just a place that would be open and neutral. I told the hostess, "Table for one," and tried not to make it sound like a declaration. They sat me near a family of 5, 3 kids, grandparents maybe. They were loud in the way. Happy people are loud, not disruptive, just full. When the server brought an extra setting to my table by mistake, I asked her to remove it. The woman at the next table noticed. "You're welcome to join us," she said casually, like she was offering more bread. We ordered too much. I smiled the way people do when they intend to decline. "That's kind, but I wouldn't want to intrude." The older man at her table leaned over. "You wouldn't, we're already crowded." There was laughter, not forced. I don't know what made me change my mind. Pride can be stubborn, but loneliness is patient. I moved my plate over. They introduced themselves. I remember their names, but what I remember more is that they didn't ask why I was alone. Not once. I left that night with leftovers wrapped in foil and a phone number folded into my coat pocket. "In case you ever want company again," the woman said. I didn't call for weeks. Not because I didn't want to. Because I didn't know what it meant if I did. My daughter called the following Sunday. We talked about weather, about traffic. She didn't mention Thanksgiving. I didn't either. Eventually, December arrived, and I sent a text to that number. "Coffee?" That was 4 years ago. It didn't happen all at once. I wasn't absorbed into their family like a scene in a movie. It was gradual. Coffee turned into a birthday barbecue. A barbecue turned into helping the oldest boy with college essays. I fixed their garage door one spring. I attended a middle school recital. They started calling me by my first name. The kids eventually settled on Uncle, half joking at first. It stuck. The first year I spent Christmas morning with them, I felt something settle inside me. Not replacement, not victory, just steadiness. My daughter and I continued speaking. She never apologized. I never demanded it. Her husband remained cordial but distant. Invitations to their home were infrequent, often framed around convenience. "If you're already in the area." For a while, I kept waiting for things to reset, for someone to say, "Of course you belong here." But belonging doesn't return on its own. It migrates. By the 4th year, I wasn't waiting anymore. The family from the restaurant, the Harrisons, insisted on hosting my 65th birthday. I resisted at first. It felt indulgent. But they'd already booked the hall at their church, already planned a cake shaped like a fishing boat, because I'd once mentioned I used to take my daughter to the lake when she was small. The room that night was full. Neighbors, their relatives, a few old co-workers of mine. The kids, taller now, had put together a slideshow of photos, not just recent ones, photos of me teaching them to change a tire, of us at the county fair, of me holding the youngest science fair ribbon. I hadn't realized how visible I'd become in their lives until I saw it stitched together. Someone posted pictures online. My daughter saw them. She arrived halfway through the evening. No warning. When she walked into the hall, the room shifted slightly, not with tension, but with curiosity. She stood near the doorway, taking it in, the cake, the banner, the cluster of people around me. I walked over. "Dad," she said. Her voice wasn't angry. It was unsettled. "Why didn't you tell me you were having a party?" I looked at her for a long second. There was no bitterness in me, just clarity. "I assumed you were busy. I said gently. It wasn't sharp. It wasn't revenge. It was the same tone she'd used 4 years earlier. Her eyes moved around the room again. She noticed the way people greeted me when I returned to the table. The way the Harrisons' youngest slipped her hand into mine without thinking. The way someone called out, "We're cutting the cake, don't wander off." There was no scene, no confrontation, just reality. She stayed for the rest of the evening. She was polite. She thanked the Harrisons for including me, and the woman who had first invited me to Thanksgiving smiled and said, "We're lucky he said yes." Later, when the crowd thinned, my daughter sat beside me. "I didn't think it would matter that much," she admitted quietly. I nodded. I know. That was the truth. I believed her. I don't think she meant to exile me. I think she underestimated what silence can build. We didn't resolve anything that night. There was no dramatic reconciliation. But something shifted. She began calling more often after that. Not out of guilt, at least not entirely, but because she could see I was no longer waiting at the edge of her life. I still see the Harrisons every week. Every Thanksgiving since I've sat at their table. There's always an extra place set automatically now. No one asks whether I'm coming. Belonging, I've learned, isn't always reclaimed where you lost it. Sometimes it's offered by strangers who never ask why you needed it. And sometimes the quietest shift in power isn't walking away. It's building a life that doesn't collapse when someone tells you not to come home.